Hi everyone, hope you are doing well from wherever you are watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, after William Samoei Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua came to office, they openly came out and told Kenyans that they did not find anything at the treasury. The only amount of money they got there was merely 319 million shillings. That was Rigathi Gachagua. William Ruto also said the same. And Gachagua is a man who has always said that he will always tell the truth to Kenyans so that the truth will set him free. Alisema yeye ni mtu wa kusema ukweli. But today, these two individuals have been exposed in the story published on Daily Nation, on the Daily, showing that William Samoei Ruto's government has spent to a tune of 4 billion shillings on luxury from the time they got elected. The question is, where was this money coming from? Hustler budget, how Ruto government spent 4 billion on luxury after polls win. That was the headline. So it has explained clearly on how Ruto has been spending money, which is totally different from what Gachagua has been telling Kenyans. And it is a story that he's still sharing with the Kenyans. That's why I feel that this topic is very important on this platform, to make sure that we are telling Kenyans the reality of things on how William Ruto is trying to run government, like what SG Jeremiah Kioni was saying. Kwamba serikali si kama mkokoteni ya kibidha kuru. Actually, Jeremiah Kioni was right. Now, on November 23, 2022, there was amount of money that was dispersed to Rigathi Gachagua's office, about 264 million, for implementation on urgent plan activities on recurrent budgets. Mishahara na hiyo mambo yengine ya marupurupu, recreation, vitu kama hizo. This amount was part of 1.5 billion shillings that the National Treasury had approved to be spent by the Deputy President Office. That was in September 21st. That means from the time William Ruto was in the office. So look at that amount. And now, since election, to go deeper into that budget, Treasury approved 2.6 billion Kenyan shillings on State House affairs. That's November 31st. And in this money, you will check, if you go down and find that 46 million was approved, was spent on hospitality by the cabinet. September, 840 million was also used by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to facilitate temporary committees. 10.2 billion to fund the Hustlers Fund, Financial Inclusion Fund, that's Hustlers Fund. Then 3.79 billion on fertilizer subsidy program. So, following all this, the other emerging issue is that now William Ruto has already spent, and the expenditure is exceeding the 10% threshold. And as of now, Treasury is requesting for a special approval on the expenditure adjustment, which is now beyond the threshold. Now they have to approve some money which is different from what is needed as per the budget. Because remember, Ruto has finished his 10% of 5 years term in the office, 6 months. Remember what Professor Mutayo Nguni was sharing out. And again, in the supplementary budget, there is something you will learn there. Already, how they have set that budget, Ruto cabinet has decided to cut down the expenditure on development, but then they are increasing the other expenditure on recurrent budget. So, what is expended there? For example, 106 billion shillings has been cut down to reduce on development. But then the increase on current expenditure by 92.9 billion shillings. And this one is going to affect areas in infrastructure, energy, health, housing, and water. Right now, wanasema bei ya maji imepanda juu. And so many other things, electricity and all those things. So, this is how Ruto has spent his money. And we have questions to ask here and to open Kenyans' eyes or remind them of what already they are well aware. As we continue with this discussion, just a quick request for those who are watching and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. To our eternal subscribers, I must say thank you so much. And again, to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you, and back to this discussion. Now, there are serious questions we have to ask here. And from today, those people who have been supporting Kenya Kwanza government and believing in Rigathi Gachagua, because I know there are some people who still believe in Gachagua, please stop it. Gachagua is lying without even blinking an eye. He pretends to be a holy man, a man who go to the church, but they go there to politic, not to tell you the truth. You might believe that Gachagua has been saying the truth. The question is, where did the 4 billion Kenyan shillings came from that Ruto has spent on issues that has to do with nothing on matters of development of this country? They told us 319 million. But 4 billion is coming from where? There is huge difference between 319 million and 4 billion. Huge difference. So look on how they've been spending. The money that went to the issue of, 2.6 billion on State House affairs. In mambo na hospitality. Kukaribisha tu watu wakule, wakunywe, receiving guests, all of those. They have been spending more than what you will think a hustler will do. They are dining like kings. But they pretended during the campaign that they are hustlers. How can a hustler spend such money in terms of hospitality and hosting guests? Millions of shillings. Look at the man at the Foreign Affairs Department there. Ruto has been trooping out of the country now and then, visiting all those countries outside here. But they say there was no money in this country. Where was this money coming from? As they spend this money in this manner, what we want to remind them is that people in Turkana are still dying of hunger. We still need to remind them that we have people in this country who don't have even a meal. They can go even a day without a meal. But again, we want to tell them that when they were spending this money, why did they cut the subsidy that Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta had given to Kenyans? Unga subsidy. From their side, they are spending more. To an extent, they are trying to adjust their budget beyond the Public Financial Management Act. Lakini subsidy ya mwananchi walitoa. On their side, they are very safe. They spend until now, they have to adjust. But when it comes to mwananchi, they remove the subsidy. Now, they brought in the issue of fertilizer subsidy. But there are still stories around here about fertilizer from Russia, which was free to help the farmer. Ilikuja ikauzwa. This issue they're talking about, fertilizer subsidy, it is still very expensive on our shelves. If you go to the Aggravate and all those stores where they're selling fertilizer, inauzwa bei kali. For them to tell us this is a subsidy, we have to compare what Uhuru Kenyatta was giving through the then Minister for Agriculture, Peter Munya. Peter Munya was giving a favorable price. But mythically in Turi, they are selling the fertilizer more expensive than what Peter Munya was giving. So where is the subsidy here? Kabla wakwambia hii ni serikali ya mahasula, where is the hustler? He came in, he kicked out the poor. He came in, he kicked out the orphans. He came in, he kicked out widows. He came in, he kicked out poor of the poorest. Waturukana huko hata sasa wana hata nguo ya kuvaa. Wako na shida ya maji. Lakini we see that the money they have reduced on infrastructure, it is also touching on water. Water is life. Instead of them thinking on how to reach out to Turkana and some areas within Lower Eastern, some areas in Mandera there which they are struggling with water, they are increasing because by cutting down the expenditure on water. So water is going to be affected, and as of now people are already complaining bills ya maji imepanda juu. In as much bill ya maji inapanda juu, Ruto pia anapandisha juu expenditure ya cabinet na state house. Few individuals at state house spending 2.6 billion shillings. But they cut on the subsidy. They bring fertilizer in the name of subsidy, but the prices, it is meant to swindle farmers. So where is the subsidy? And why did Gachagua lie to Kenyans? They found nothing at Treasury. Yet he has a budget more than even what he was telling people on what they found at the Treasury. That is the situation we are in now. So you can see it's like this government is going to spend more on the current budget. Expect little development with a lot of noise. Gachagua told us, and I will remind you every time, this is a government of chicken. They are going to lay an egg and make too much noise in the entire village, and the entire town and the entire city will get to know that they have laid an egg. But Uhuru Kenyatta was giving more milk, like ile inaitwanga exotic cow, ile ng'ombe ya grade inatoa maziwa. So they have cut down on infrastructure, but they are increasing on a recurrent budget. What do you expect from this government? Sufferers will continue to suffer. There's nothing like poor or hustler. This is a government of the rich. And if there is a man who had poor of the poorest, the widow, the orphans, the needy, the middle class in their heart, it was Raila. Chebukati just ruined our future in this country by giving us William Samoei Ruto. There's much to be said, but we'll keep on asking these questions.